Hello and welcome to Pixel Scandal, where this is a paper scandal side quest. Today we're going to be playing Dialect, a game about language and how it dies. I am Kurt. I got Handor down there. How you doing, Handor?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
And Endeline, how you doing over there?
I am great. I am excited to play Dialect.
Yeah, me too. And we have our very special guest facilitator today, Yoshi. Yoshi Krillman, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Yeah, glad to be here. I'm doing pretty well. I'm going to be running Dialect, which is, as Kurt mentioned, a game about language and how it dies. So what this game is sort of a game that focuses around a community and the language that they create, because they're sort of in isolation, at least in a little bit of ways. And so we're going to be creating some words and seeing how the community uses those words through the lens of different characters. But we know going in that this community will no longer be in isolation, that their language is going to die out a little bit. And so there's going to be a little bit of a somber note to that. But we know that going in, and that's just what it's going to be. The backdrop we're going to be playing today is Thieves' Cant. So we're going to be playing a bunch of thieves who are out to do crime, and we have developed our own language about how to talk with each other and convey message and information while being amongst the rest of the public, whether we're at the docks or at a bar or somewhere else. It's to have that coded language while that nobody else really understands while we have that. So we'll be doing some stuff like that. Cool.
That is very exciting. I'm super looking forward to this. All right. So,
Go ahead. So like, I was going to say that, so I think the first thing, as we talked about each other, the thing that I want to start is with some safety tools that we're doing here. I always like to run with 3 different safety tools. For me, I like playing with them because I know that it makes me more comfortable and it makes other people more comfortable, and we're all people and we care about each other, and we want to make sure that we come first before whatever the game is, whether it's on a stream or face to face or whatever. So for me, the first safety tool that I always like to do is the open door policy. And what that basically means here on the stream, and just in general, is that like, hey, we're more important than each other, or we're more important than the game. If you need to get up for whatever reason, whether that's to go get a drink of water, to go to the bathroom, to answer a call, to do something else, just do it. Don't worry about it. Like, I will deal with the fact that you've walked up from the table and whatever. If it means you need to leave completely, don't worry about it. That's on me to deal with. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. That's really important. And so we'll make sure everything else happens. And so like, just get up and do what you need to do. The second tool that I like to use is lines and veils. So off screen, stream, we talked about this a little bit. So what lines and veils are things that we do not want to appear in the game whatsoever. Veils are things that we can have in the game, but we're never going to put it front and center. So they're things that can happen in the background. If they ever come up in play, we're just going to fade to black. Typical things that are like this is like in a lot of movies, for instance, sex scenes are often fade to black. Like, you know the sex happened, but like you don't ever actually see it on screen a lot of the time. So that's like a good example of what a veil would be. For us, since I talked off stream with there we have 1 line and 1 veil. And our line is sexual violence. So no matter what happens in this game, there's going to be no sexual violence in it. And our 1 veil is physical torture. So that means physical torture may show up in the background of something, or it may come up in play. But if it does, then we're just going to move it off screen and we're going to fade to black and continue on, knowing that it happened, but we're not actually going to detail any of that. For me, lines and veils are a living document. That means if we come up with something like, we didn't write down spiders is one of those things, we can update the thing along those lines. And we can just add those stuff along the lines.
I'm down with the no spiders. We can add that now.
All right, cool.
I just watched Arachnophobia, so I think I'm okay.
You just crossed the line. I just specifically said.
Hey now.
Sorry.
So for me, this brings up to the third safety tool that I like, which is the X card. The X card is basically a way for us to, when something has gone wrong. And the reason why I introduced it as the third one is because hopefully we will we will nail some of these things that are really problematic in our lines and veils before we get to the X card. But the X card is here is like, hey, I forgot to mention spiders. Can we just X out spiders? And that way we can update the lines and veils as we go, hence the living document. For me, the thing that the X card gets used for all the time is names. Is because like I'm not going to list out I don't want to use Anne as a name, or I don't want you to use Ian because that's my brother's name. Like on here, like that's not going to fit in the lines and veils. But like as you introduce your character, like yeah, my character's name is Ian. I'm like, hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. Can we not use that because that's my brother's name, and I don't want to mix up you and my brother in this. I'm just going to screw that up. So like it's like it doesn't have to be for serious things. It's just anything you're like, hey, can we just not use that? Like I said, names for me is by far the most common thing to use for those types of things. Any questions on those safety tools?
Nope. Pretty clear.
I'm good.
Fantastic. Cool. All right. So I am going to show the Thieves' Cant to all players. Hopefully it shows up on screen.
Yep,
Yep.
I got it.
Gotta make
Beautiful.
it bigger. I'm blind.
So I'm going to read the backdrop, like the description a little bit, and then we're going to talk about the aspect generation, then the community questions that will help define some of these things further, and then after all of that, we're going to get into our character creation. So Thieves' Cant. At night, this town belongs to scoundrels like us. The shimmer of steel in the shadows, a muffled strike in the dark, the cold clatter of coin. The real challenge is hiding in plain sight. Everything that's worth anything in this town passes through the docks, and that is where we all call home. We labor low throughout the day while gathering rumors, information, contacts, anything that will help us on our next job. The most important tools for the dozen members of our crew are not our weapons, but our language. We speak in code, disguised as pleasantries and idle chatter as we move among our targets. The year is 1834, and flesh and blood is thankful for whatever work it can find in the shadow of coal and steel. Our words and weapons are how we care for our own. So this is a backdrop which has a special language rule with it. So the special language rule for Thieves' Cant is that most of the words that we're going to be using are just supposed to be disguised in plain sight. So that means we're going to do a lot of reusing of existing words and trying to like hiding them in plain sight rather than like making up things that are totally different. So they'll be coded things. So like the example that they use is like our aliases or things like that might be other locations like port cities or things that we're doing. So we like if we're down at the docks, we can talk about going to this port or whatever. We know we're talking about something else, but everybody else is like, oh yeah, they're just talking about Hanoi or whatever that other city is, and like they're not going to notice it. Cool. Any questions so far?
No.
Awesome.
Good.
No, sounds good.
All right. So I'm going to go over the three aspects. So the way this game plays is it plays out in 3 ages, and in each age, everybody's going to have a turn, and we're going to create a word. And between the ages, the situation is going to change a little bit. When we start off, we're going to have 3 different pillars or aspects that kind of define our group. And so we're going to customize that for us and how we want to play today. So one of the aspects is going to be related to the job. What shadowy job is our bread and butter? One of the aspects is going to be related to like the eyes on us. What crowded entertainment house provides relief and temporary cover when we need it? And the third aspect is a totally free aspect that once we start talking, we can figure it out, we can assign it to what it is. And this way we can get a little bit of customization of ourselves. For the job and the eyes on us, does anybody have a good idea of what they want to do? And if not, that is totally fine, because we can go on to the community questions and come back to these aspects and help us define that way. But if somebody's like, oh, no, I got something I want to do, I want to hear it.
What about a playhouse and we pretend like we're part of an acting troupe?
Okay.
What do you think of
That's
that,
cool.
Kurt and Andor?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You're thinking about this for like the eyes on us, what crowded entertainment house provides relief and temporary cover when we need it? type
Yeah,
thing?
it could be like an acting like a speakeasy that also has like a stage and they put on shows and stuff. There's also like a bar. It's kind of a pub with food and stuff.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Are you thinking that like we run this bar or we're patrons of it? Like, or are we like part of the troupe or like we one of several?
What do you guys think?
I think we have a go ahead.
I was gonna say, is there a lot of crossover between the acting guild and the thieves guild? Like
There
out of
could
work
be.
actors end up in the thieves guild as con artists.
Certainly, acting would be a very good skill set to have if you're going to be a thief. So
Yeah.
I could see there being a crossover.
I was thinking we have like a like once a week night or what, I don't know. It's too early. But where we do like what's that called when you do improv? Yeah, improv. Where we do an improv, like the four of us or whatever, or like 12 of us or however many there are.
We'll say we're part of the troupe that puts on a show twice a week here at this pub.
Yeah.
Cool. So like we're part of it. We're part of a troupe. Not everybody in our troupe also are thieves, or are just some of the thieves part of this troupe?
Why don't we say the Actors Guild is a front for the Thief Guild? We're actually
Perfect.
but it's a front.
Cool.
I love it a whole bunch. That is awesome. So end of line. What I would like you to do is, because you we're talking about this, can you take one of those example aspects and then come up with like a short 1 to 4 word thing that summarizes that, whether that is like Actors Guild is the front or something along those lines, and change one of those aspect cards for it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then everybody else, do we have another idea for maybe what the job or the free aspect is? Like, what is the job that is our bread and butter? I'm thinking if we're actors and the job, like, I almost feel like this is like those, like we fleece high value targets. Like we become buddy with them, like that type of stuff. Like the rich and the wealthy that we sneak in and case the joint at a party type thing.
Yeah. I think it'd be cool to be like the I don't know. Yeah, like we have to go in and deal with the mucky mucks, right? Do the FaceTime part of the con.
A lot of manipulation, social engineering, getting really deep in with the families, learn everything, and then once we have enough information, we then steal everything.
Pull a job and the troop goes to the next town.
Pull a job. Yeah, exactly. Hit all the main families of this town, and then we move to the next pub in the next village.
That sounds absolutely wonderful. Kurt, do you want to come
Yes.
up with like a 1 to 4 word thing and throw that on a different aspect?
Yeah. So this is a free aspect. The choice is yours.
This is the job aspect. Like what job is our bread and butter? And we're talking like something to encapsulate that whole idea of like we go into the high rollers, the mucky mucks, something like that.
Okay. So
You don't have
this-
to put like the job there, but just like some like 1 to 4 word thing.
Sure. Okay. So and just so I'm clear, it's this aspect is gonna be in relation to the job specifically, or oh no, did we lose somebody in the call?
Yeah.
We lost Yoshi.
He'll be right back.
Yeah. Let's give him a second there. That gives me more time to think.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about
Welcome
that.
back.
I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, no problem. So yeah, so this needs to be because we already have our job aspect, right? Which ended up as
No, this is our job aspect. So
this
like this
is
is
our
like,
job aspect.
like what our bread and butter is like it's not necessarily this specific job, but like we go in and talk to the high rollers and stuff like that. Like
okay, so
whether that's like
So is
big
he-
cons.
Is he just putting a name on that?
Yeah.
so we
it-
just need like 4 words to kind of describe that.
Yeah, so like some sort of like little short, pithy type thing to do that, because what we're going to be doing is with all of these aspects, these are sort of like the pillars we're going to build our words on. So like we want something that relates to the type of work that we typically do, because a lot of our words are probably going to relate to that in at least a little bit of way.
Right.
Just start-
So it should be something that could be played off as an acting thing. In
I
case we
mean,
have
it doesn't have
say
to
it
be
in front of
super
someone
smart.
else.
Like, it doesn't have to be like really like clever. Like, we can be really blunt about this, like high roller cons or something like that is totally
okay.
fine. But like
Uh,
something that's short enough that like we can look at that and go, oh right, that's what we're talking about.
right. So I think it needs to be something like long form financial
Deception?
improv or something like
Ooh,
that.
yeah.
Perfect. I like it.
All right. So I just write that on one of these cards. These
Yeah,
example
grab one of the
aspect
ones that
cards?
say aspect, that still says aspect, and do that.
Okay.
Then we're going to have one more aspect, which is a free aspect, which is going to be totally up to us. If somebody has a brilliant idea for this, great. If not, we can answer the community questions and come back to it, because we don't need to have anything. Does anybody have an idea right now?
This is still the same, like, as far as the like explaining the job.
It can be related to the job. It doesn't have to be. Like it's something that defines our group, and makes
Oh,
us about us. So it could be like we have something about like what we do in our like to de-stress. We have like what our main job is. This could be like that we're all uh I don't know, that we're all happen to be chefs and cooks at the same time. It could be that we all like to go sailing. It could be anything that we want, but something else that ties us as a community together again.
gotcha.
But if nobody has any great ideas, we've got some community questions, which we can answer, and that might spurn us into
Yeah.
another great idea.
Let's circle back.
All right, cool. So, Handor, I'm going to ask you the first question then.
Okay.
What city's docks do we call home? What industry keeps its gears spinning? This can be a real city. Like, again, it was saying like 1830-ish, but like we don't have to stick to that. We can make this a fantasy city. If we wanted to put this in Blades in the Dark and call it Duskfall, we could totally do that too. Like,
Okay.
that's a totally open option.
So I kind of like the idea of just coming up with a cool, imaginative name. Maybe, not necessarily something that's real. Let's say, what's a real, docky name? Um,
Waterfront?
yeah.
Three Rivers?
I mean, it could be anything. A lot of towns are just named after a person.
Yeah.
Or like something that was there, right?
Let's call it Greenwich.
Greenwich. Cool. I like it. All right.
And then what is it you wanted to know? What is the like?
What's the industry that keeps it like? Why does Greenwich exist? Is this a steel industry? Are we like? Is it a delta and there's a bunch of like food and stuff, and that we're shipping out food? Like,
I would say it's a sea. I would say it's a sea. Fishing.
fishing. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Whole town
It's
stinks.
real. Yeah, it stinks.
Fantastic. All right. End of line. I'm gonna ask you the next question.
Ooh, okay.
All right. A powerful rival gang operates with impunity. What principle
geez.
that we hold sacred do they violate at every turn?
Murder. We do
Murder.
not kill.
Cool.
We steal. We do not kill.
Does the rival gang have a name? Like, what do we call them? Like, what do we refer to them as?
The cloaks.
The Cloaks. Fantastic. Do we often get blamed, or do people like for when murders happen? Do people like think of our group as having it, or like as thieves in general, or do people pretty much know like no? Oh, this murder happened. That was the Cloaks.
let's say they don't believe they know that there's two different entities at play, but they
Yeah.
don't know anything about us, but they're very aware of the cloak. They've been around for a
Okay.
really long time.
Cool. So the cloaks are more well known. Okay.
And they're hitmen. They don't steal anything. They do consignment murdering.
That's so good. Okay, yeah. So they do that, and they probably do a bunch of like not only that, but sort of blackmail and like threatening and like that type of thing is like pay up or
yeah.
pay up or you
Strong
know
arming
what
or
we
whatever.
get paid for, so you want to pay up.
And if it's okay, let's say that the local law here is also corrupt and they're on the take by that.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna say.
fantastic.
They've got to be, right?
Cool. Law on the take. Fantastic. Cool. Kurt.
Yes.
What is our white whale? That one job that will solve all of our troubles that we're always looking for
It's amazing.
for an opening on.
Oh man. So there is a there's this ancient jewel that it was cut for a a princess 200 years ago. It's this like giant ruby set, with, like it's got a really intricate cut to it, and it has been on the like museum circuit for the last 20 years, and we follow it around.
Oh, fantastic.
That's why we move town to town.
Okay, cool. What is the name? Like, if this is a necklace, or is it a necklace, or is it just a jewel, like all by itself?
I think it's called,
Or is it in a tiara? Like how is it set?
I think it's meant to be worn as a necklace.
Okay.
And it's called like the daughter's heart.
Perfect. The daughter's heart. I love it.
I like that.
I roam from town to town.
Cool.
Thank you for that.
What is all right? So I'm going to answer this myself. What is the lowest our gang has stooped to, and why can't we move on?
Ooh.
I think the lowest that our gang has stooped to is when we really couldn't get work. Like the princess's or the daughter's heart moved to a town that really didn't have like people that we could do our like high rolling like long cons on. I think what we ended up having to do is we had to pretend to be like the muscle that like the cloaks are currently doing. Like we didn't kill anybody, but like we had to pretend like, hey, we're going to rough you up if you don't pay like this extortion type thing. And like some of us are intimidating enough and we can do things that like we can get it through, but like I don't think we necessarily liked doing that, especially when people called our bluffs. And so like we're like, no, maybe, yes.
Yeah.
We have a line and we stepped over it.
We stepped over it. And so
Right.
yeah, I think that's our low point.
We had to almost like John Wick for a little bit, but not
Yeah.
so much the shooting, just getting the going back to a place or going to a place that we didn't want to go to.
Yeah, and I think we can't move on because like I think we were good enough at it. Like even when people wouldn't call our bluffs very often. Like we know that if we needed to, we could still go back and do that. Like
Yeah.
it would work
That's
out.
scary.
Yeah.
Right.
That we know now we're capable of crossing.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to open this one to the table. So if somebody has something, feel free to jump out. How do we find new members for our crew, and how do they earn our trust?
I'll let you guys take this one.
So how do we get new people?
Yeah.
What's our initiation?
Yeah. Like when we see, like, do we go down the street and like, oh, that person is like a good pickpocket, like we can spot them like doing their work, or is this like when people audition, like what's going on?
I'm sorry that I have to like pop culture reference everything to come up with ideas, but I'm gonna have to say that we do it out of necessity, like an Ocean's 11, right? If we needed like somebody who specifically does C4. Well, obviously not C4. Black powder something for whatever reason.
Okay.
We go out and we recruit based on the exact specific requirements of a job.
Yeah, I like that.
So if we don't have a guy who's
A lockpick, a sneak.
yeah, exactly, somebody who's
A
short
particular
and tiny,
skill
and we
set.
can shove him in a box and sneak him into the like
Need a
it's all
contortionist
from-
for this one.
yeah,
Cool.
contortionist. Yeah.
Why
I
don't
like
we
it.
have open auditions for the troupe?
Ah,
And
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
looking
yeah.
for people with not a lot of family on the street, not a lot of money. Like we kind of focus on those people that aren't
Yeah.
attached to the area that they're in
yeah.
and are looking for an opportunity. And
This
then
is amazing.
we kind of like
This is-
interview them for their skill set. And if they happen to have a skill set we need,
Yeah, you look like you've been out on the streets a little bit. What did you manage to do to get by when things weren't going so well? Oh, interesting. I see that.
This,
I
this
think
next
you would
show's going to need some pyrotechnics.
exactly.
yeah.
I put on a disguise and sneak to a party so I can eat for free.
Yeah, perfect. Awesome. All right. So that being said, those are the community questions. Does any of that like inspire us for a third free aspect that kind of like ties our group together?
I was kind of thinking that maybe the three of us are brothers. Like we are family,
The four of
and
us?
so. But yeah,
Four of
sorry,
us.
the four of us. The core of the guild is family. Like we've been together forever, and we just kind of bring people into the fold as extensions of the guild.
I like that. Do you want to maybe extend it a little bit further than just like the four of us? Is like our group is family, so it's like found family or something like that. Like once you're part of our group, like you're family.
Oh,
to
yeah.
us.
Like no one leaves.
Yeah.
And it's not by enforcement. It's actually a happy business, and people do enjoy the work, and we treat each other really well and fairly. And we
Yeah.
only steal from people that are extremely wealthy and well off. We don't steal from anyone that is in need. And so we kind of attract people that stay in the group, and it becomes a family, and we trust and love each other.
Cool. So like we are family. Does that sound like a good way to encapsulate that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, I'm going to write that on the last aspect in a second. But before I get to that, while I'm writing it, think about what do we call our community? Like we need a name for us. So while I write that, think about that.
All right, let's see. So, feel free to jump in if
Can
you
you
think
smell
of
what the
something.
rock is cooking?
No.
Okay.
Pandor's out. Kurt, go for it.
Well, we can collaborate on it, right? So maybe it's something that developed over time.
Just let me be me, guys. Let me be me.
I like the troop, right?
The troop.
The troop could totally work.
It's not very evocative though. If you're trying to pitch,
Come on, Kurt. You did stage acting.
Oh.
It's a good stage acting guild name.
Oh, okay. So it would be. Oh man. So I want to. So Good Company Players is the name of a group of actors. It's like an acting group here. But I kind of want to like tweak it a little bit. So maybe it's the Bad Company Players.
Do it, yes.
Cool. I like it. I'm just
I
going to
like
make a text box in the top and put that in up there.
Cool. So I see we got that. I can't get that on screen, but you're muted, Yoshi.
All right, cool. Is that on screen now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, the Bad Company Players. Fantastic. Cool. Okay, so we have now named our isolation. We're now going to create characters. So I'm going to deal by I'm going to do this by dealing everybody some archetype cards. And so then everybody is going to get those to all players. Deal.
All right.
Hold on. This is me messing around beforehand and not shuffling the deck.
Okay.
So now everybody has cards.
Oh, cool.
I do have cards.
Yeah, so if you look down in your cards, you have 3 different cards. You're going to pick one of these as your archetype. So, like, I'm going to do at the top of it is sort of like what the archetype is. So, can I show? I'm going to throw this one out on the center of the table so people can see it and I can talk about it. This one is called Sage. So that the Sage is sort of like the general archetype. The black text in the middle is sort of like a little bit about like their role within the community. And then the red text on the bottom is how you relate to those specific aspects that we have defined. These things are going to be different between all players. The reason why you have 3 of these cards is that hopefully one of those 3 really like sings to you and like oh, I definitely want to be this. If none of those do, there are still some more. Just let me know and I'll throw you some more cards. But like look at those, figure out one that maybe like works for you, and also come up with a name. So on the Thieves Can't, there's some suggestion for names. You can pick whatever you want as your first name. The thing that we're also going to want to care about, because we're thieves, is we're going to want an alias. So on the part of the Thieves Can't, there is like some suggestions for aliases, but we can also do some other ones as well. It would be kind of neat to have a theme between our aliases. Do we want to have like a theme there? Like they suggest maybe things like the other towns or ports if we were there, if we were living down at the docks. But like for us, we're also all around the theater a whole bunch, and things like that. And if we're in high rolling things, maybe something else that might be a little bit more appropriate.
I mean, it would be pretty obvious if we just were all famous characters from plays, right?
Yeah.
Like Hamlet and stuff.
Yeah. And this is the name that we give to the common folks. This is the name that we tell people, right? Or this is our
like our alias, like when we're talking about probably how will we refer to each other when we're doing thieving stuff, because
okay.
we don't want to necessarily call each other by their other things, or it could be completely the other way. No, it makes more sense is like when we're doing thieving things.
Yeah.
My alias is going to be Steve.
Well, what I was going to say is it could just be the roles at the theater, right? So you just say,
yeah.
the director or the.
I actually love that.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. All right.
I'm glad you said it because I was gonna say that and I was embarrassed to say it.
Don't be embarrassed to be Steve. I'm sure Steve is a good person.
No, I meant you know what I meant.
All right. So let's take a moment, look at your roles or the cards that you have. Figure out which one.
The stream is going to get to see mine, so you guys will get to see my 3 cards.
Cool.
Should we ignore them?
I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to pick one. I think maybe don't read all my cards as we're going later in the thing, because then you get sort of like, ooh, I know what Kurt's going to play.
We get to. Oh, okay. All 3 of these are going to be useful.
I mean, yes and no. Like you're only going to pick one of these right now, and so nobody else. Like for me, I have the healer, the oracle, and the sage. No one else has. These are all unique cards, so no one else has also a healer and also the oracle and also the sage. And you're only going to need one of these. So if you want to draw a little bit and use some of the like a little bit from the other, feel free to. It's all about creating a unique character, and it's all about trying to give you a little bit of randomization that kind of points you in a direction that might be interesting.
Okay. I know what I want for my first one.
Yeah, you're only going to get one. So like,
yeah, you only pick one of these.
How do you pick it?
Oh, okay.
Do I just drag it on the thing?
Yeah, you can just drag it to the screen, and you want. But like what we're going to do is after everybody has sort of like picked what their things are, you're going to talk about who your character is and introduce it to everybody else. So like for instance, I can see that you're the jester or somebody is the jester, and you're going to talk about what like the black text that's there and how you relate in the community, what your character's name is, and then also what aspects and stuff you identify with and so on. So if somebody end of line, it seems like you're ready. If you want to introduce us, go for it.
Sure. I am the jester. When we are performing a job, I go by wardrobe as my handle. And I am the one that even when things are not going the way that we want them to, I'm always the optimist, and I'm always the one that kind of brings us back to a positive perspective. I'm very lighthearted and friendly and caring for everybody. And I'm also the one that cracks jokes and teases everyone and just keeps things lively.
Awesome.
The aspects that I identify to are where are our aspects? We are family. Family is extremely important to me. And that's why it's so imperative for me to keep everyone in a good mood all the time and to stay positive because I want our family to stay together. And and we'll say our job is what's our other aspect? Is it the long-term financial improv? That's the job we do?
Yep.
Okay. We didn't pick a...
We Are Family, Actors Guild Front, and long form financial improv.
I'll say, because it says you think one of our aspects is ridiculous. I will say the Actors Guild Front is ridiculous. I kind of wish that we would just do... I love the thieving aspect of what we do. That's what I live for, the next job. And I feel like the Actors Guild Front, it serves its purpose, but I just wish we could just focus on the job.
We spend too much time on that part of it.
Yeah, like the rest, a lot of our family, the thieving is the thing they would rather not be doing. They'd rather act full time, and the job is the necessity because we need money and everything. And I see it in reverse.
Fantastic. All right, cool. Can you grab one of those example characters up there, put wardrobe on it, and then also change your Roll20 name to say like wardrobe and oh, you already got that part. Yep. Fantastic. And wardrobe, he, him?
Yes.
Cool. Fantastic. Does somebody else ready to go?
I see someone dragged Explorer out here. Was that you, Handor?
Yeah, that's me.
You want to go for it? Tell us a little bit about your character.
Yeah, I made it too small. Hang on. Okay, so you guys rely on me to venture beyond where the rest of everyone else goes, to push the boundaries and uncover new potential. People talk to me about the unknown. I identify with all the aspects, but I know that there's undiscovered potential in one of them. And I'm going to say that the undiscovered potential in one of them for me is I recognize that our Actors Guild could actually subsidize, or we could just do that and stop thieving and make money if we just put more time and effort into that.
You and I do not see eye to eye.
No, we do not.
That is so good.
I love this.
This conflict is perfect.
Oh, well, and I'd say my name or my what my handle is Usher. So everyone will call me Usher.
Cool. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just a lonely Usher.
Do you have one, Yoshi?
I do. I can go with mine. So I am going to pick the Sage. So the Sage, you know so much about the past, so much that we were doomed to repeat. People talk to you about burning questions. I am an old matriarch of this family. The reason why I'm the sage and people keep coming to me is because I've been thrown into jail several times and gotten out, and I've been caught, but like they're also like at this point they're like, oh, we can't, like this old lady, like we're not going to keep her in jail that much. Like it wasn't that big of a deal. She was, yes, she snuck into the party, but like she was just getting some food. And like so like I'm the person that like I've done all of these crimes and things before, and like I know about all of this stuff. So you identify with two aspects, and one is this source of your knowledge. So I think the one that is the source of my knowledge is the long form financial improv. Like I've just been doing this for a long ass time, and like it is that, it to me is like the bread and butter. Like I am a criminal first, and then later on we went into this and like, oh right, yeah, I guess we can act too. Like I'm good at that. I guess we'll start this up. And it's all about finding those people. Like I think that once that acting has come up, like identifying and finding other people and sort of like treating everyone as part of like this group that I can trust and work with us. I think I think I'm probably the director is who I am.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's my favorite.
I'm
ahead.
getting the feeling that I'm like the youngest, maybe the youngest sibling or something, and that is why, like, I'm trying to convince you guys to put capital in this new idea, and you guys are like, that's stupid, you know.
I could see that. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the magician. The magician. No one understands how you accomplish what you do. You have your secrets. People talk to you when they've exhausted all rational options. So I think I was actually a street magician when I joined the gang. But I'm probably really good at like setting up sleight of hand and visual stuff and doing like magician-y types things, and watch the birdie and over here something else is happening, and so I am the technical director, and everyone calls me Tech.
As a magician, you're probably good at picking locks.
Yeah, a lot of sleight of hand type stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and it says you identify with only one of the aspects. Your secrets lie within. So I think I have to go with the Actors Guild front, because I was a performer first and foremost, and that's where I learned how to do all of the weird stuff. And maybe I'm not good at the like bringing in a crowd and being an actual magician, but I'm great at the physical manipulation stuff. And so definitely crimes. It's where it needs to go. But yeah. All right.
Awesome. Cool. So right now you have some cards in your hand. You can totally get rid of these, so you can just drag them to the screen and delete them if you would like, or you can keep them around. It does not really matter. You're not going to use these anymore. I'm going to deal everybody 3 story cards. So
Okay.
as soon as we deal
I need
3
to update
12
my name.
players. Yeah, so if everybody can update their names, and then if you want to grab one of those example character cards, you can grab one of those and put your name there as well. And so everybody should have 3 age 1 cards in there, and these are like how we're going to create words. So how this works is that everybody is going to get a turn. I like to do it sort of like a little bit like popcorn style, like where if somebody has a word, they're like, oh, I want to go with this word. We'll let them go, and then we can kind of figure it out. But in each age, everybody gets 1 turn. What happens on a turn is you're going to pick one of your 3 cards. You will pretty much always have 3 cards to pick from. So part of the turn is getting a new card to replace the one you just used. But you will look at the card, pick it, and then make a connection to one of those other one of the 3 aspects that we have, which are the Actors Guild front, we are family, and then the long-term long form financial improv. So like you'll say, oh, I think that this word is related to we are family. And then what you will do after that is you will build a word that we're going to use as our thieves guild type thing for that word. So for us, it's going to probably be a lot of repurposing existing words that can be used in conversation, or maybe not, depending on what the word is. And then once we do that word, if you don't have an idea, that is totally fine. You can say, hey, I really want to make a word for friend. I have no idea what this word is. You can solicit the rest of us for advice or thoughts and things like that. Or you might like, hey, I have the word for friend. I know exactly what this word should be. Like it is patron. Like that is the word we're using. And like, that's also fine. You can go either direction on those things. And then the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to set up a scene, a conversation where that word gets used. You can put your character in there. You could put two other characters in there. It's going to mainly be about the four of us players, our characters, having a conversation where that word comes up. And so like we want to see, like, you want to set a scene where that word will come up. And so from this point, this is where a lot of that role playing is, and that lens that we're going to be using is how our words get used within our community and what that kind of reflects. And as this progresses, we'll see a little bit of a story. We're going to be jumping around a little bit, and I often like to think that a lot of these words that we're creating are not necessarily words that we're creating and this is the first time that they're getting used, although that might be true, is that these are also words that just get used all the time, and this is the time we're highlighting it in the visual type thing. So like we all know that like something being shady, like in our vernacular, is kind of like bad or like sketchy and like not a great thing. The first time we see shady on screen doesn't necessarily mean that's the time it got created. That's just the time that we're looking at it. Cool. Any questions?
Nope.
Fantastic. There's another thing you can do with these cards. I will get to that later, but let's play around and age with all of these cards. So let's take a moment to look over your cards and think about what your things are and if there's anything. And we will go through the first turn slowly and piece by piece. But if somebody has a word that they want to jump out with, feel free to speak up.
Okay. I need to look at mine, and the stream gets to look with me. Ooh. Well, rather than just letting this be dead air, I'm going to read my cards out loud so the stream can get a feel for sort of what you see on these cards if you're listening this just as audio. So one of my cards is Unit of Time, an important unit of time in the isolation, tied to our routines, environment, or whatever defines the rhythm of our days. A plan is made is the little red text at the bottom. I can't remember the red text. What is that specifically meant to...
Yeah, so the red text is the prompt for that scene. You can totally ignore it if if it doesn't fit like what you've developed the word for, but like it usually gives you an idea of what that scene setting like prompt should be, or it gives you a direction that you can follow for that.
Okay. I actually really like a unit of time. I think I'm going to try to...
Do you want to go first and do it? If not, yeah. I've got one that I would like to do.
Oh, yeah, so go.
All right, cool. So I will do mine. I'm going to drag it to the screen. So I have friend. This type of friendship is unique to the isolation, a bond that comes from a shared activity or a particular way we regard one another. So to me, I think since we have the Actors Guild front, I think that's what we're going to tie this to. And I think what that comes from, what friend is probably something related to cast or cast member or something like that, or actor. Does anybody have any like ideas around that type of thing that we might want?
So does this mean you're going to find a word that means friend to us, but not necessarily that some other person would acknowledge friend to me?
Right. So exactly. Okay. Like,
gotcha.
I mean, I like they're in the cast, but that negates the wider like the backstage crew.
Yeah.
People.
Crew is a little bit too generic, I
Yeah.
think.
Trying to think of ways we would refer to people. I mean, cast really works.
Okay, I'm okay with cast. So like, it was the first thing that jumped out to me. So what I did right now is I took one of those language item cards, I edited it, and I put cast there, and I'm also going to put in brackets the word that it is drawing from. Like, so I'm going to say like cast and friend. And I'm going to tie it to the Actors Guild front up here, so it's going to be up here by that Actors Guild front, that people can see that. Cool.
That's cool. I love
All
this Roll20
Yeah,
setup.
Hakan did a really good job of making it very beautiful, which I appreciate. I actually don't need this card, so I'm going to delete in a second. And it says a revelation among friends. I've got an idea. Let's see. Handor, you were saying that you might be the newest member of the community.
Yeah.
So what if like this is maybe like me and you is probably the oldest member and the newest member talking about somebody else that is like a potential person. Does that sound like something that would be an interesting scene?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I think this is probably like right after we had open auditions for looking for things. What kind of like end of line? What kind of job like person are we looking for? Like what do we need that we don't have? Like because that's when we do open auditions. Like we need somebody to do something.
How about we need a burgle? We
Okay.
need someone who can quietly move around a house and take items.
Yeah. Fantastic. So I think this is probably like, are we in the no, I like this as I imagine we're at like a pub or something like that. We're just like sitting at a booth, typing like there. And both Kurt and End of Line, if you want to like join in, feel free. But like I think this is like maybe me and start at least starting off with me and Condor, like, or actually your character's name is Usher. So director and Usher sitting at a booth together and we're talking. And so like, I don't know, Usher, like that bunch of people, they weren't all that good. Like I know we told them that we needed a backstage hand that could move quietly in the back of the director, like backstage where they wouldn't interrupt what's going on stage. But like I'm not sure if any of those people are really going to be like part of our cast.
I would have to agree with you. It was um, it's it's going to be difficult to find uh, anyone this. Oh, I can't say. I was gonna say cast this casting. No, I
Yes,
guess
you
you can
can say
still say
that.
casting.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
still say that.
Um.
I mean, look, it took like when we pick people up, we know that they're going to be part of it. And you're the newest cast here, but like even the audition itself is not the final thing. We gotta take you on a performance before like before you actually become part of the cast. Just because you make it past audition, there was that one girl with the long blonde hair that went down to her waist. Like she has potential, I think, but I don't know.
All right. Yeah. I honestly I don't know. I'm so struggling with the improvisation right here.
No
Um.
worries.
Is it alright if I come up to the table with drinks?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
I'll sit down with 3 mugs and press one into Usher's hands and one over to you. And the crop this year, I mean,
There is it just this town? Like, is it Greenwich? Like, I mean, Usher is cast now. Like, great find in the last town. Like, I wouldn't have thought that Portsmouth would have been the place to find somebody like Usher, but like, we found you there, and that was great.
I mean, fishers make fishers. It's that one kid though. I mean, seeing him jump up into the rigging, you could tell that he had some experience there. It's just translating that.
I mean,
to our case.
that I know the kid
Oh,
you're
okay.
talking about. Like, he was a bit boisterous. Do you like he might be able to get the job done, but do you think he's going to fit in with the rest of us? Do you think he's going to be cast?
I'm really worried about him spilling the show before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if he's out on the street running lines.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. The one with the hair. Who were you saying before? I heard you as I was walking up.
So, like, the thing that I noticed is it wasn't when she was out on stage and talking about, like, her audition part. It was when she was backstage and, like, you could see, like, people ignore me. I'm an old lady. They don't recognize me for the trouble that I can actually cause in the eyes that I have. They think my eyesight has gone, but I'm still sharp. And I noticed that when she was backstage, she wasn't watching so much the other players who were out on stage. She was watching us. And I think that's got the attention to detail that somebody who knows what to look for and can be sneaky and quiet to help with the backstage part of our jobs, of our shows, is really important. They know
Yeah.
what to look for.
That is that is a good observation. I mean, Usher, you think you think this is gonna work?
Honestly, I think with the young lady, it almost worries me that she's able to pick that out. But at the same time, it's great because with that capacity to notice such small detail, she may be able to warn us or even help us out with the other rival gang. Because we don't know who a lot of those people are a lot of the times. I mean,
Yeah.
we know that they're there, but if she's capable of noticing us when everybody else's eyes are on the stage, then I would have to assume at some point she's going to be capable of pointing them out as well.
Yeah.
Can I walk up to the table at this point?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I've heard none of this conversation at all, and I'm walking up and I sit down and I go ahead and take a swig of Usher's ale. And place it back in front of him and say, "Well, no burglars in this lot. But what do you think about the backstage girl as a spotter?"
Yeah, absolutely. She's that's I was just saying. I was literally just telling the cast that
Have her work the spotlight.
Have
Yeah.
her work the spotlight, and then if we happen to get some work, she could be a spot for other things too.
It's I think we could find a place in the cast for a follow spot.
Yeah, just keep an eye out, see if anything's changing, if people start heading to rooms that we don't necessarily want them to be at, and alert us.
And I think you just see me like give you like a glare of like, we're supposed to be talking in code here.
Oh.
And it's just like, yes, a follow spot. That would be beautiful. And like, I think that's where we'll cut scene.
I look embarrassed.
Perfect. Awesome. And so that's generally how like one turn works. So if somebody else has another card that they want to go for, let's do it.
Sure.
You guys are gonna have to do all yours because I really have to warm up to this.
No worries.
Oh, that's okay.
That's
and
totally
we'll help
fine.
you through.
Yeah,
Yeah, and-
I noticed everyone trying to help. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Let's see. I like a unit of time. I wanna do that one. An important unit of time in the isolation tied to our routines environment. So I kind of want to do. I kind of want to go with dress, meaning dress rehearsal.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
And so a dress rehearsal is and in our context would be the like last chance to before we do the robbery, right? This is when we're sure we've got it. We do that one last run, like we do that one last party or that one last whatever, and so we refer to it as this is dress because we know tomorrow is the robbery. So yeah, a plan is made. Perfect. That totally is it. Okay, so I think this is gonna take place like at because these don't have to be chronological or anything, right?
No, not at all.
Okay. So I think maybe this takes place during dress. So this takes place at like a noble or not, I don't know, not noble, but like a wealthy person's manor or whatever. And we're in dress rehearsal here. So we know that this is tomorrow is the robbery. Now is our last chance to get like details, make preparations and that kind of stuff. So I think, everybody could definitely be in this scene, but the wardrobe. What's your normal role? Are you what was your role card? Oh, you know what? Wardrobe might be on call for work, so let's do the. Go ahead.
Wasn't he? Oh, what was it? I can't remember.
That's okay.
It was.
We can start this one with the director and I, and then as people come in, we can just bring you guys in.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I just want to make sure I put dress unit of time and I'm tying it to the actor guild front.
Yes.
Because that's what it sounded like. I just want to make sure that. Well,
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna have to do some stuff about family too, because we are a family, and then the other thing. So I got to make sure we're doing that. Okay, cool. So yeah, so this is dress rehearsal. And we're at this party, and Tech walks over to director. Good evening.
It's a very pleasant evening. The weather is good. Makes my old bones feel just fine.
Yes. Say, I've noticed that not everybody's at places. Is that do you think we need to have a talk? Do we need another dry run for that show?
I mean, today was the dress. Like, we were supposed to be here, and if not everyone is here, we can wait. But like the next time that we get the theater is not gonna be for another month, and we can do stuff and we can hang out and we can make things work. But like a month is a long time before we get to dress again.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. Some of these new cast members are. I mean, they're always late to call. you have to remind them to hit their mark. Are we just getting old?
And I kind of like look at you, and I'm like, "You're not that old yet. I'm old." And I'm like, "No, you're." But I say like, "No, you're not wrong. Like, we've been doing this a little while, and I know the new follow spot. She looks good, but like, and Usher has been great, but like, like, uh, the protagonist. I I'm not sure protagonist is really
Yeah.
like.
I mean,
Like,
it's a
he's
little.
supposed to be here. I know he has a drinking problem, but like,
What are you gonna do? Pop tenors, right?
yeah, exactly. Wow.
It's just they act like the world revolves around them.
I mean, the show does revolve around them. They are key. They need to be here, but like, they also have to recognize that you, Usher, me, we we all have our roles, and they are also important.
Yeah.
Even the new girl follow spot, like, she's not here, that can cause problems.
Maybe we can get Usher to talk to him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Usher's good at hitting their mark. They're always on time. Look, I think I saw him around the backside of this house. Let's go track him down.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that, like, I want to hit this dress. I don't want to have to make us
Oh,
wait
no.
till the next dress.
Yeah, we're it's already dressed. The show is tomorrow.
Cool. That feels like a good
Yeah,
scene.
yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Sorry, did I miss anything critical?
Just that dress rehearsal means planning for the robbery.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a unit of time, so like we almost mark things of like, oh, this was 3 dresses ago, type thing.
Did I get this right? And did you call wardrobe an alcoholic?
No, I was calling
You.
an unknown NPC
Oh,
named
okay.
protagonist, because we have
Oh.
roughly a dozen people, and I figured whoever the protagonist is, like, they're going to be the center of the show, and I called them an alcoholic.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note of that too. Cool.
I didn't want to call any one of your characters an alcoholic, so
And we're calling our new girl follow spot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Follow spot girl. Okay.
Cool. End of line. Do you have a card that you want to play?
I do.
Let's do it.
I'm going to say Bad Omen.
What?
A symbol for our dread. We've always had worries about the future, but the thing anchors it to reality. When we say this word, we feel how fragile the isolation really is. And I will say a bad omen only some acknowledge. And our bad omen is good luck. I'm
Nice.
saying bad luck. Good luck is a bad omen because on stage you always say break a leg, and saying good luck is a bad omen.
Right. Yep.
So good luck is our bad omen.
Cool. Which thing are we tying this to? Is this tying it to the Actors Guild front, or is this more related to the long form financial improv?
Financial improv. It's the job. It's the work.
Cool. All right. While you talk about things and set up the scene, I'm going to drag a card over there and name it for you.
Okay.
So is this something that we say if, let's say, follow spot sees something, right, and she yells out good luck, or she doesn't say that because this is something that's a sign, like
Something's
like,
wrong, something's bad.
yeah, back out, okay, gotcha, yeah, good luck, and then it's like evacuate, okay.
So
Cool.
so now you get to set a scene, Endo.
Can
we
the
would
scene be
use that
something
word.
that occurred in the past, or this needs to be current?
No, it's out of it's yeah. It doesn't have to be in chronological order.
Okay. Let's say this is the first job that we did with Usher in the previous village, and one of our troops, protagonist he him or she her?
He him.
He him. Okay. His responsibility was to make sure that the wife of the house didn't show up to the party, but he had a little bit too much to drink and he didn't do his job. And the whole job was required her to not be there, right? And so we're all kind of in the room by ourselves, and I start the scene by looking out of the window and seeing the wife come home, and I say, well, everyone, good luck.
All right. Yeah.
Is that right? Is that
Yeah. No, that's great. So I think what I want to do is kind of try to save the day as the new guy, and like run downstairs and just distract the lady and be like, "Lady, look, you know, we really meant to have the furnishings and everything that was intended to be done for your party tonight. We haven't had it finished yet. If you could just give us a little more time here, and maybe go do, pick up a couple bottles of champagne or something and come back, or maybe look at something, at the nice store down the street and come back and say 15, 20 or so, and we'll have everything perfect for you. We'll be totally out of your hair, and everything will be all set, and you'll never even know that we were here."
Yeah, so I think she like kind of looks at you, and what does Usher look like?
He's younger, kind of, imagine like longer hair, not like Fabio or anything, but just longer hair. He's, right now I'm imagining like a more of a, what's his name? Aladdin type, like,
Okay, yeah.
like street rat, but not really. He kind of still tries to dress somewhat, but
Yeah, so I think
semi handsome. What's that? Go ahead.
yeah, so like I think like with that, like I almost imagine you like in a vest that is maybe like an old vest that you picked up at like a secondhand shop or a pawn shop type thing that like it's not yours, but it looks good enough, but like you can also tell it's old. And I think like
Yeah.
she reaches over and like grabs your vest and like fixes the collar on it and looks at you and is like, "You're right. It would be better if people didn't know that you guys were here," as she like flattens the collar out on your vest. And
Wow.
she yep, and she's like, "I think there's a case of wine that maybe they have still. I'll go and check that out." And she just sort of like lightly taps you on the shoulder as like straightening your shirt and thing, and like yes, please have everything done by the time I get back.
I want to put my. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm gonna motion like behind my back with a thumbs up to the guys, and I'm gonna be like, "Yes, please," you know.
I
And
want
just
to
totally take that slap in the face. By the way.
I want to put my hand on Tech's shoulder and say, not to pressure you, but you've got 3 dresses before curtain call. And I'll say, I need you to get that armoire open.
Yeah. Listen. Next time, be a little less eager to call good luck. All right. And then he walks over to.
Cool. That seems like a good scene there.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Hendor, do you got a card that you would like, or?
Yeah. It's the exact opposite of endos.
Cool.
Nice to have a counter.
There we go.
Aw.
Wonderful. A vision of hope, milk and honey, and all that is good. May we fill our days with it. A shared moment of wonder.
I always see this
100%
milk
have
and
an
honey
idea.
thing.
Yeah.
I want to try milk and honey. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So I. Okay, let me see here. Vision of hope. Oh, you know what? This is perfect for my. Okay. So I'm going to be speaking with tech. And this is
What's the word or what's the phrase that means wonderful?
oh, that's right. That's right. Wonderful.
If you're struggling, I have an idea, but I don't want to take over.
Go ahead.
So for an actor, a standing ovation is kind of the best thing you can get.
Yeah, I love that.
Or encore, maybe.
Encore is cool.
Yeah, they're both
What-
really good.
It's your card though, so you get the final say on
Yeah.
what the word is or phrase.
You know what? I'm gonna say encore because it's good. I think I'm gonna be able to play into
Yeah.
what I wanna. All right. So, do you want me to add those in, or do you want to add those in?
I'll write it down for you. But which aspect do you want to tie it to? The Actors Guild front or the long form financial improv or We Are Family?
The Actors Guild front.
Okay, cool. I'll write that out and you can talk.
Okay, so I'm gonna be talking to tech, and I guess we'll be at the Actors Guild front. We'll be kind of just sitting. Maybe we just did a job or whatever. So I've been thinking. I know I'm new. I just want to do everything I can, and I love this family. But I really think that the Actors Guild could really have a wonderful, it could really be a great encore to what we do regularly.
I mean, you're talking about you're talking about a straight play.
Well, yeah, that's the idea. There would be no there'd be no more dress rehearsals all the time. We wouldn't have to worry about people showing up late.
I mean, you're pretty young. You may not have been an actor for a long time, but those problems exist in a straight play, buddy. You just sure you mean what's the difference? Tomatoes, right, is your biggest enemy in a straight play, but I don't know, man. This company, I don't know if it's got the. I don't know if we've assembled the right company for that kind of show.
Well, I would argue just the same that we've assembled the perfect crew for or cast for the perfect show.
All right, so
It would-
in this
we
magical
would-
go ahead.
I was just gonna say we would literally get. It would be encore after encore after encore.
I mean, sure, there's no greater feeling right?
Right?
But I just don't know if you're going to feel the way you think you are when you're staring at an empty house.
That's so good. Well, I'll defer to your experience, but I really see a lot of potential in our cast. You know, it's a family. We're, I just think I think it would be there. We would get an encore. I just honestly think it would be great. It would be encores, just encores.
I mean, that seems like a place to a good place to cut that scene. But yeah, he's like nodding along, like maybe.
Cool. Perfect. All right. So that means every one of us has had a turn. So that means that ends age 1 and we would transition into age 2. So when we are entering age 2, there's an event to foreshadow the end of the isolation. It finds its way into all conversation and is impossible to ignore. So here we're going to have 2 branching options. I'm going to read one and then I will read the other. And then we'll take a break. And so we can think about which one of these options we like better and then come back and we'll talk about, hey, let's do this one, let's do that one type thing. Cool. So option 1, we had no choice. Wait, I'm reading the wrong age transition. Let me grab the right one. Because I just realized like that wasn't going to work, like based on that. All right, the right aim. A note found slipped into one of our pockets. An invitation to a job with our rival gang. It's a big one, and this may be our only shot. Many think we should take it. How do they convince the rest? That's option 1. Okay. Option 2. We've pulled this exact job a dozen times. That's what did it. We got lazy. The whole thing went to shit. We came back broken and battered. Either someone's talking or they found something on the scene. But one way or another, the heat is on us. How do we try to protect ourselves? So those are the 2 options we have. Again, these are going to lead towards the end of our isolation, the end of our Actors Guild. So let's think about those things and let's take a quick break and then come back and we'll talk about stuff.
And welcome back. I got to turn on the desktop audio so you guys can hear everyone else. And hey, now we can hear everybody. Thank you for holding through our break. We are picking back up with age 2. Yoshi, the floor is yours once again.
Yeah, so we've got 2 options. One of them is we're going to work with our rival gang. One of them is we got caught. Does anybody have a preference on which one is jumping out to them, on which one they want to see, or which one that maybe they don't want to see?
They both suck. I don't want to either.
I like the getting caught.
I think getting caught makes it easier to follow the towards going straight, like doing the becoming just a playhouse.
Okay.
It sort of fits in well with that one.
Perfect.
I think siding with the cloaks would destroy it.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so I'm going to read this again just so it's fresh in everybody's minds, and then we'll answer the question at the end. We've pulled this exact job dozens of times. That's what we did. That's what did it. We got lazy. The whole thing went to shit. We came back broken and battered. Either someone's talking or they found something on the scene. But one way or another, the heat is on us. How do we try to protect ourselves? So what do we do?
Well, under the presumption that we have a quote unquote mole, we definitely need to find out who snitched.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Usher.
No.
I mean,
no.
Aw.
I think. Well, wait a sec.
Yeah. And
Cool.
you back?
You're,
Sorry, yeah, Discord.
there you go. And that's what happens. That's what happens to snitches.
So I think it feels like maybe we tighten up and protect our own. Like we, but like it's not like that's the appearance, is that we're tightening up and protecting our own. But if we think there's a snitch, there's probably also a lot of like people talking to each other and like, I don't know, do you think it's Usher? Do you think it's protagonist? I don't like Follow Spot was looking at us weird. Like is it like a bunch of those types of conversations that are happening one on one with different people? Yeah.
Is this a good place to give a recommendation?
Yeah.
My recommendation to the matriarch, or sorry, to
The director.
The
director is, we've never had this problem before. We've introduced 2 new casts. I feel like we have to cut those casts and move on. I think that's the only safe approach to protect the family. We can't be sure which one of them is the issue, but we've never had this issue with the legacy cast.
Are you talking to the director alone?
No.
No? No. I'm going to disagree wholeheartedly with everything you just said.
Yeah, this is in front of the whole cast. We're family. We should be able to speak to each other.
Yeah.
Or,
Cool.
yeah.
It's nothing personal, Usher. I think you're a great fit for the family, but no one member, especially not a new one, is more important than the safety and protection of all of us.
Yeah, so like we had this big cast meeting, and I think like when you say that, I look at you and I'm like, and I look at Usher and I look at Follow Spot and I'm like, these are new members. What you say has weight, wardrobe, but also, and then like you see me turn to protagonist. Even though those are the 2 new members, it doesn't mean we as individuals haven't changed in the past. And maybe it wasn't intentional, but some of us maybe got a little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you with my facial expression.
Cool.
I think we
So-
could. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, unless there's anything else, this might lead right into the next part of the
Yeah,
mechanic
let's
things.
go ahead and.
So the next thing we need to do is evolve one of the aspects. So 2 of our aspects are going to stay exactly the same, and one of the other ones is going to change slightly. It's going to be still related to what it was before, most likely, but it's going to be changed slightly. To me, based on that conversation, the "we are family" might be the thing that's changing.
Mm-hmm.
So, does
Yeah,
that
'cause-
sound right to everybody else?
It's impossible for that not to happen at this
All
point.
right, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the Actors Guild front into Age 2 and the long form financial improv into Age 2. I'm going to leave We Are Family in Age 1 and then copy it and paste it because we're going to change it. How does We Are Family change?
Well, I imagine some people are going to feel loyal to protagonist here and feel like we're turning on the family, which is something we don't do or has never happened before. So it kind of shakes the foundation of the family that you have. Because even in your prior conversation, you've made it clear that, yeah, protagonist has a drinking problem, but we're like, yeah, but that's protagonist. And we just kind of always make excuses for each other. But now that something like of this catastrophic has occurred, like it's real now. And now it's going to have effects. There's going to have to be some consequences to what's occurred. And now people are like, oh man, they're talking about kicking someone that is legacy to the family out. And that's never been something we've ever had to address.
Yeah.
What if it goes to "we are a company"?
Ooh.
Because then that can, like, money's more important than the modern version of but then there's also the actor version of company.
Right.
I'm down for that. I like that change.
It makes sense because at least for Usher and I, there seems to be 2 different sects of the family. One that really wants to go straight and narrow and do the acting thing and make that profitable. And then people like myself, Wardrobe, who just want to strictly do the finance aspect.
Oh no. Come on, Discord. What are you doing to us?
Discord has been not nailing it recently.
Yeah.
Discord's going nuts over here.
Discord's all like, good luck.
All right, I'm back. What I was saying right before I got disconnected is I've changed the aspect to we are a company. And so now we have in our H2 the three aspects that are our current pillars that we're standing on. The last part of an age transition is to optionally discard a card. So right now everybody should have two age 1 cards in their hand and one age 2 card. If you're looking at those and you're like, oh, I'm never going to use that one, you can discard one right now and get another card. So for instance, I am discarding one of my cards because I don't think it's going to be something I want to see, and I'm going to get another card for myself.
Was it good luck?
It was good luck. The reason why I discarded it is because we have good luck as a term. I'm like, I don't want to have that out there.
Yeah. Man, I've got two that could still work. I'm curious if I should get. I've got Death and the Future.
Those are good.
And
I
both
like
of those
those.
are going to be ominous for us, I think.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep those.
you do not have to discard a card. Like you can keep all three cards that you currently have. This is only like for me. Like there was one I'm like I'm never going to use this.
Yeah.
If anybody does discard a card, let me know so I can deal you another card. Cool. All right. Then the last thing I want to do is I want to introduce a new mechanic. And so what this new mechanic is sometimes we have words that change as we progress through play. And so like a word may take on a new meaning, or we might have a variant of that word. So if you want to create a variant of something, what you can do is it's going to break out of normal turn structure. So this does not take your turn, but you can say like, hey, I think we need a variant of cast to be casting, or we need a variant of encore that is like applause or something. Like it's derived from like that thing. Maybe not quite encore and applause, but like something along those lines of dress to like dressing, or like changing it up a little bit. What you will do is you'll kind of like pause play and you're like, hey, I think we need a new variant for this thing. You will discard one of your cards just as sort of a cost to the action. We will make a copy of the card and introduce that thing and talk a little bit about it. So it's like maybe a couple minute like little interruption. And now we have a new word that is a variant of what the existing words were.
Ooh.
And then we can continue play.
Got people discarding.
Yeah. Cool. Does how to make a variant make sense to people? Do people have questions?
So I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I was only keeping the cards in my hand that I had picked, and apparently I shouldn't have gotten rid of my other cards. So what I can do is just pick that one I discarded for a new card, and then I'll discard one to evolve something. And that way I'll be even.
Sure. So you have one stage 2 card in your hand right now?
How do I tell if it's a stage? Yes, it's stage 2. It was the second round of cards.
Yeah, I'm just going to deal you 2 more stage 2 cards. I'm not going to worry about like whether or not they're the right ones or what. But you should have 3 cards in your hand.
Okay, I do.
Yeah. So perfect. Cool. Any other questions? All right, let's take a moment, look at our cards, and if somebody has something that jumps out at them and they want to do, go for it. I need to look at my cards though.
So intent. You're so intense, Kurt.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a word for death. All
All right,
oh, I know what it is.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, let's see it.
Okay. So let's throw death out there. It is the final bow.
Good.
So now we need a scene for death.
Does it have to be literal death? Can it be the
yeah, that's the other thing too. It could be the death of our business. It could be the death of our family because our family changed to a company.
Right. Okay.
It could be someone's gonna get rid of protagonists.
Question. Final
Yeah.
bow. What is that related to? Is that related to We Are Company, the Actors Guild, long form financial improv?
Can we make one for each? It's
What do you
related
mean?
to them all.
I think well, it's definitely a term, like a theater term, right? So we're pulling from
Right.
that, but
But
I think it's going to be related to the company because I think it's about when we kick someone out of the family.
Yeah,
uh,
that makes sense.
yeah, that makes sense to me.
So let me get rid of this card. So then I think this is us getting either their literal dying or just leaving the company. But one way or another, they have to leave. So do we want to find out how they left during the scene, or do we want to decide that before we jump into this?
Do you want to set it like after they've left, or talking about somebody leaving?
Oh, yeah. Talking about someone taking their final bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay, cool. So I think I've pulled you three in. And we're sort of forming an inner circle within the thing. Or actually you two, because it looks like wardrobe is on a call again. So usher and director, we are in the lighting booth. So we're like up in the like raised area, like looking over the theater. And maybe follow spot is there.
I feel like so wardrobe literally just walked in. I'm gonna be like, oh, here's wardrobe. Gonna be our new protagonist. Showing up late.
Well, hold on. I mean, we haven't decided if
Protagonists, as of right now, we still have a protagonist. They haven't taken their final bow yet.
Fair enough.
protagonist.
I'm sorry. Do I answer to Usher? Do you think I answer to you now?
I'm not saying that you answer to me. I'm just simply trying to point out the obvious.
Watch your
Something that I'm
tone.
sure, Spotlight would probably easily notice as well.
You need to show respect. I've been in this family a lot longer than you.
Well, it's becoming less of a family and more of a company, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, funny how that started pretty recently after you joined.
Hey, this started pretty recently after that failed show.
I'm
We got
just
a
saying,
bad review.
I don't
and
believe
it's
in
tearing us
coincidence.
apart. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, the critics, they gave us a bad review, and I don't want to see, like, we can't let the critics get to us. We need to gather up, figure out what was going wrong. Maybe somebody needs to take a final bow. Maybe they don't. But, like, we need to figure out what's going on with us and make sure that the critics aren't going to be a problem for us in the future.
Whatever
Yeah.
we decide, there's no doubting the script has to change.
I'm not arguing that. If the protagonist is going out, if this is their final bow, they're not going to take it easy. They're going to want an encore. And I don't know if we're going to be able to give it to them.
I kind of like look at you and I'm like, I mean, Tech, you've got some handy special effects that you can do, right? You can make their final bow something special, right?
Yeah, I can encourage I can make sure they go out with the flair that they deserve.
And I just like nod. Make that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we're going to blow up protagonists. That's
cool.
awesome.
Does somebody else have one? If not, I have one that could work. Yeah, I've got one that works if nobody's got one.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how. I have one I like. I just don't know how I'm going to.
We can talk through it if you want to. Or do you want me to go?
Yeah, you go first, and then we'll.
All right, cool. So it
Oh, geez.
maybe fitting.
Ooh.
Traitor, an act of utter selfishness stuns us all. What do we call the act or the people who commit it? A traitor lives among us is the scene prompt. I almost feel like because of this, protag is our word for traitor. And like it just becomes like we're gonna have to call that role, whoever fills that role next, they're not gonna be the protagonist because that word does not mean what it used to mean anymore.
Yeah, that
Right.
one means traitor now. I like that.
Yeah.
Did protagonists have the final bow?
I think we set them up for a final vow.
Okay.
And whether or not we can determine in later scenes whether or not that has happened or is carrying through, but like whether or not protagonist realizes it, but now protagonist or protag means traitor. And maybe protagonist doesn't realize this yet. I think this probably actually has to do with the long form financial improv. Like this is really related to our jobs as criminals. That's the problem.
Okay.
So a traitor lives among us. That's the scene prompt. Who do I want? Like we ended that last scene with tech and director talking and like giving instructions. I would kind of like to see how wardrobe like feels about kicking out protagonist, and I don't know who would be a good person to be talking with wardrobe about like
Not me.
yeah. Do you want to do
him
it,
and I-
Kurt?
Him and I have differences.
Because I'm planning their demise. So
Yeah, so maybe it's you two talking, and is this going to be like before it has happened? Like you're planning it out, I think.
can this take place like under the stage?
Yeah, definitely. It's
Like I'm setting up the pyro.
Yes, that's perfect. All right, so yeah, you're setting up the pyro and wardrobe. Would you be like coming there, or would you be already entangled in it? Like tech has come and asked you for help to help set up stuff.
I'm like, I just happen to be going down there because I have a couple of boxes of props.
Perfect. All right, cool. So we'll start it there. Tech is doing stuff, and you walk up to them.
Okay.
Oh, hey. You got to be careful around this stuff, okay?
Oh, sorry. My head's kind of somewhere else right now.
I mean, yeah, I get it. What's got you bothered?
I mean, I think it's got everyone bothered. Whole thing. I think it's shaken us all, and this has never been a real thing before, and I don't really know how to handle it. I'm usually the one that's the positive, the optimist, but that's for the first time, I think, in all the years that I've been on the cast, this is the first time it's a real challenge.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know that I've ever seen a recast.
Never. I've never heard the director mention it. Maybe it's happened, but she's never mentioned it to me before.
Well, she's been around a lot longer than the rest of us.
We should maybe even ask, because it's a thing that cast has ever dealt with before, but I'm finding difficulty having joy in the work that in the play that it used to be while this is all going on. I just want things to return back to the way they were.
Well, maybe if we all took a little care not to become another protagonist, we'd be certain that our roles were here for us when we got back.
I may be out of line saying this, but has anyone considered there may be more than one protagonist? I know that's unusual for a play, but it's not unheard of.
That line felt like scene, right? Like
Yeah, that is totally seen.
Yeah.
Right after that. Cool. Yeah, that's a good scene. Okay. Everybody should have 3 cards because I dealt cards out.
I
Hopefully,
do.
cool. I feel like Kurt in the in the middle of that, like we did a recast as like a variant of something.
Yeah.
Do you want to discard? I have a card I will totally discard to that.
I have Evolve as one of my Age 2 cards, so I want to use that to evolve cast to recast.
Do it. So throw that on the table and let's see it.
Okay, so as pressure builds, we change in ways big and small. As we change, so does our language. Make a connection, play on an aspect in... Oh, so this changes an aspect. Wait. Make a connection, play on an aspect in the current age, and choose a word... Oh, choose a word from a previous age. Move the word to the new aspect, and explain how the word has changed meaning because of this aspect. Skip the build a word phase. Tides of change pull on us. So, all right. So that means I have to play on an aspect in the... Oh, okay. So I just pick an aspect that exists now. Okay. So I'm going to move cast from the theater over to We Are a Company.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whoops. I made it too small. There. So, and then it's instead of cast, it is... Do we want to just change it to recast? Or do we want to change it to, like, roll?
Yeah, so this is changing the meaning of it. So, like, cast used to mean friend. It no longer means friend. It now means, like...
It could just, like, just someone you work with, right?
Right,
Yeah,
so the term cast doesn't change. The meaning of cast changes.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, coworker? Or maybe even, like...
Associate.
Something
that's so like unpersonal.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So it now means associate.
Looks like it says associado. Okay, there we
go. And then so that's it. And then we go into the scene for that then?
Yeah. And so again, you have the tides of change pull on us as the scene prompt, but you can also, if you've got a new like thing, just go with the new thing.
Okay, cool. I think this takes place after the accident. Backstage. Like everyone's running backstage like, "Oh my gosh, whatever," right? And I think people are kind of freaking out cuz someone just got hurt on stage. I think it's tech. It's backstage, so probably all of us could be there. But I definitely want to see director, and wardrobe, because wardrobe was really concerned about this. Starting the scene as people are like running backstage when this pyro accident happens.
So I think I'm standing backstage and like looking at it and trying to tend people. Wardrobe, are you coming to me? Like, what does that look like?
I am. I'm rushing backstage. I was not backstage, but I saw what happened, and now I'm rushing back.
Yeah, and I have like sort of like this resigned look on my face as I'm doing this. Like, I imagine that like if an audience member was looking at us, like they would see like somebody's like, oh, this person is in charge and they're clear and calm in the face of disaster. But like all of you guys know, it's like, no, I knew this was coming, and like this is what it is, and like I'm just dealing with it. And I call out to you, Wardrobe. I'm like, it's happened. I mean, that's what it is.
It was inevitable.
Our company, we're now just all cast members. It's not the same as it used to be.
Is this the way it's meant to be, or is this the beginning of a rebuilding, where we are going to have to rebuild the cast and Is this a show must go on situation, or a show is just this is the way the act is going to play out?
I mean, the show has to go on. We've got to dress soon, and even though we have to recast the main character, maybe we don't need a protagonist anymore. Maybe we do more of an ensemble thing. I mean, maybe that's what's popular.
I'm sad that it's come to this. I think most of us are, but the show is more important than any of us as individuals. And I have to trust your judgment. You've been putting on the show for so long, and I trust you. If this is what's best, this is what's best.
Yeah, we're going to need to hold open auditions because we're going to need a new cast.
I think if we're going to do that, I think a Fishtown is probably not the place.
And I nod at you, and I'm like, yeah, I think we're going to have to pack up and move.
We could all use a change after all this anyway.
Yeah. It feels like scene.
Yeah, that's definitely scene. That was awesome. All right. So that was a change of the meaning of cast. Handra, did you have a...
Oh, that's right. So mine kind of sucks because I can see how I'm afraid that Wardrobe's going to use this against me. But
just do it. Bring it out. Let's see it.
It's a vice.
Ooh.
An indulgence, a weakness, a salve. Vice shared by some in the isolation spreads. What is it called, and what are the consequences? So I will willingly play this. Well, first let me come up. So let me see.
How do we speak to Vice?
And also, first, actually, which aspect is it going to be tied to? Is it going to be tied to the We Are Company, Actors Guild Front, long form financial improv?
I'm gonna say it's gonna go to We Are a Company. Because it's just, that's the happening thing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Like
That's the hot topic, as it were. So we'll say, let me see. Help me out here, Kurt. What's a theater? Well, you want to say?
I mean, if it's an indulgence, like, is it a monologue? Like, is it like when you go off and do a solo job?
Sure, yeah, the monologue, yeah.
So Vice is going to be monologue.
Yeah.
So we got monologue, Vice. Cool.
How do I want to do this? So I know that I want to put myself in the position where I'm like obviously being called out by Wardrobe for a reason. Like he believes that I'm a traitor for a reason, and I want to come to you, the director, and be like, look, I understand that me wanting to explore and do, and see bigger things and always do and see more. And I know I've been pushing a lot for, some straight plays. But at the same time, I've certainly always been there as a cast member, to do everything that you've asked as a director. I've done everything I can, and I understand it looks weird when you guys are doing your thing and I'm out, monologuing.
I look at you and I'm just like, I mean, we've stuck to the classics. We know what we do and what has performed well. But maybe that was our downfall, sticking to those classics, and maybe something new wave. Maybe your monologue is in the right place. That maybe we do have to change something. I mean, that review may have happened just because we got lazy. Not all monologues are bad. There is a time and a place for the right monologue, and maybe you actually have some real vision on this, and maybe it'll work. But maybe actually we should consider that before we get to the open audition. Do we really need? Because I know I don't want another pro tag. Finding what will work better for us.
You have no idea how much it means for me to hear you say that. I just hope that some of the other cast could see it the same way. I hope that they'll understand. And I know that I'm new, but I've seen a lot, even for being as young as I am. So I just want what's best. I just want what's best for the show.
And I kind of like look at you and I put a hand on your shoulder and I'm like, all right, here's what I want. When we run those open auditions, I want you to run the audition. You figure out what you think we need, because we don't need another pro tag. If you think that this is an opportunity to indulge your monologuing, take it. See what we can do, and we can try to make it work. It feels like scene to me?
Yeah. That feels
Yeah.
like scene to me.
Yeah.
Giving him some more responsibility.
Mm-hmm. I'm old. I can't be the director forever. Gotta pass off my responsibilities at some point. Right. End of line. I think you got a card to play?
I do. I have an environmental feature. A distinct feature of the environment, be it natural or man-made, has gained profound meaning for the isolation, a dangerous climb. And so I have to tie this to an existing aspect, right?
So pick either Actors Guild Front, We Are Company, or a long form financial improv. And I'm going to grab a card. Which one do you think?
Going to tie it to. Oh. I'll tie it to the long form financial improv.
Cool. I got you. I'll edit the card when you come up with a word for it.
Environmental.
Oh, I have an idea.
Of course you do.
You're like
you're the like. You're the expert on
I'm
the
not,
topic.
I don't want to jump in if you're stuck. I have an idea.
What is the term for the set design, like in the background, like the things that you cut, like
well, there's
Backdrop?
the set, the backdrop.
Backdrop. What about backdrop?
Mm-hmm. Background, the
What was your idea though?
stage.
The stage for a feature? We could do that.
Because like if you say the stage has changed, it usually means like where you are and what you're doing.
Okay.
But I like the background, like that. That's the same concept too. Like the scene, the set, the.
Let's do stage though. It's less ambiguous. I think.
I got you. Stage, environmental feature.
All right, now how are you going to tie that in to...
Okay, so I will have we'll have all of us in this scene, and we're all having a meeting with the entire cast. And I'm basically going to stand up and say, it's no secret to everyone that things are changing, and I feel like we have an opportunity to bring about positive change with this. And I think the way we can accomplish that is by adjusting or resetting the stage. And I feel like maybe it's time for a new show, a new act, a new script. We use this as an opportunity to rebuild our relationships with one another and get back to what we were meant to do and how things used to be. And I feel like a new show is going to help us get back to where we should be. And I think that requires a stage change.
And I nod, and I kind of like look, because you probably look at me, seeing as I'm the director, and I'm like...
And you're like a mentor. I kind of look up to you.
Yeah, and I'm like, Wardrobe, you're absolutely right. And I know that things have been changing, and I look to Usher, and I'm like, but the times are changing, and what the audience demands, and what the audience wants, and what the critics want, and what the critics look for is something that we should always be aware of. And I think Usher has a new idea and will be hosting the new auditions. They'll be running them and trying to lead us into something new.
That's a great deal of responsibility for a new cast member. But I trust you. If you see something in Usher and you believe this is a responsibility that he can do, then I'll kind of nod to Usher and say, let's see what you can do.
Yeah, as you said, the stage needs to be changed. And I think someone with the newest, freshest perspective might be able to pull us away from the classics that I've been leaning us into too heavily.
I'll go and put my my hand on Usher's shoulder, and I'll lean in and whisper in his ear. I'll say, now's your chance to prove me wrong, boy.
That feels like scene.
Yeah, that's definitely scene.
Cool. All right, so that means everybody has taken a turn in this round. And so everybody's got 3 cards, right? Adults.
I think I accidentally took too many turns. I forgot. When I put out the evolved thing, I didn't realize that was like a turn card.
Oh, yeah, I need to get rid of mine.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
Ooh, I got a good one.
All right, I think everybody's got cards. Cool. All right, so now we're going to end age 2 and go into age 3. So we're going to read the transition prompt, and then we'll evolve an aspect, and then we will optionally discard cards. So transition prompt is what was foreshadowed has come to pass. The end of the isolation is near. There is no escaping it. A crackdown. They knew we were coming. Someone must have taught them our words. Several of us are rotting in jail, and a hunt through every gutter of the city is ongoing for the rest of us. How do they keep tracking us down? So this must be after whatever the new job that we just ran was with the new person, and that one also failed. And so even though protagonist is not with us, they still spotted us, and something else went wrong. How do they keep tracking us down?
This is bullcrap. I feel like I have to take up I need to take on being the bad guy, man.
Not necessarily. Like, it doesn't have to be Usher that was the problem.
I think we couldn't convince everyone in the group to just be actors. They kept trying to like go and do jobs, and they're not doing it with the full crew. Like the whole company wasn't involved.
You mean like monologues?
Yeah, they're out there
Yeah.
monologuing and getting themselves caught.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And like one person getting caught leads to somebody else because they'll take a lesser sentence to rat out somebody else or something else like that.
Yeah.
I think I'm in jail then. Like, I think somebody ratted me out and to get off, and so I got thrown in jail. But like, I've been in jail before and got thrown and like got released or whatnot. So like, I feel like at some point I definitely got thrown in. Maybe I'm out now. Cool. So they tracked us because we moved cities. Like, they tracked us to a different city and they're sending us out.
Did we make a play for the daughter's heart because we felt like it was ending?
Oh,
And so
maybe
like
somebody
some of us
did.
broke off, like the older guard.
Some of us maybe did try to make a play for the daughter's heart.
And
Was the
they
daughter's heart
realized
in the fish town?
they figured it out that we follow the jewel around.
Well, yeah.
And so they were
jewel
ready for
moves.
us.
Yeah, like our crew had moved to the new town and we went back to wherever the daughter's heart was. Like, this was the first time we weren't in the same town, and then suddenly there was a bunch of people that weren't part of this troop back in that wherever that other town is.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost venture to say that this jewel has its own prescribed security, like almost as if like each town would have a local department. The security prescribed to the jewel is almost like a federal level. It's like a national level security, and so making the play for the jewel would mean, like, it doesn't matter what town you go to, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It adds more levity. I think it's much bigger than just like.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, so some of us have been in and out of jail since that last time because there was a play for the daughter's heart. And so we're all either together or scattered or things like that. Like, we can be a little bit wishy-washy about where things are.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the play actually went all right, or maybe it wasn't great though. Like, because like if some of us were in jail, like, what do you do when your director is in jail in the middle of opening night?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Who stepped up? Who stepped up when I was in jail during the actual plays happening? Was it Usher? Did Usher step up to be director?
Let's say Usher did it.
Yeah. I definitely tried.
Okay.
I was tempted to, but you put your faith in him, and I felt like this was a chance for him to see what his mettle is.
Yeah.
So I took a step back.
So I have a question for you then, Usher. Like, how did the actual play go? Even though like the crew as like thieves are struggling and failing, how did the play go? Because it doesn't matter so much, or it's not related directly necessarily. Did the play go well?
I think I may have bit off more than I could chew. I don't have the temperament and the calmness. I'm certainly capable of being spontaneous, but that is my thing. Is I am spontaneous, and so I rely too much on not planning ahead and just thinking that I could go into something and everyone can just be spontaneous and have it go off, without a hitch.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, so then we should evolve an aspect. Which one of these aspects changes? It feels like long-form financial improv might be the thing that changes to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Any other thoughts on We Are Company or Actors Guild Front maybe changing?
I agree with the long form
Yeah.
financial
Alright.
improv.
So I'm moving We Are Company and Actors Guild Front into age 3. And I'm going to copy this and paste it into age 3. And what does the long form financial improv change to? Does it just become improv, long form improv? We just drop financial?
Yeah, I think so. Also, do we lose the front on Actors Guild?
Oh,
Like,
maybe.
are we just an Actors Guild now?
I think it like we're only evolving one, so like,
Okay,
it
cool.
still says Actors Guild Front because I think there might still be people who are doing some side jobs.
Yeah.
They're monologuing.
Cool. So long form improv now.
Yeah.
No wonder the play's not doing well.
All right, cool. And then optionally discard a card. So if anybody has a card that they would like to discard, I think I'm discarding one card.
I'm also
We can
gonna
all
discard a card.
just
Yeah,
I'm
if you-
discarding a card as well.
Okay.
yeah. I'm gonna discard one as well.
All right. Kurt, are you discarding
Yeah,
one?
I discarded a card.
All right, then I'm just dealing one card to all players.
Cool.
All right, so everybody should have 3 cards. Cool. Now take a moment, look at those cards, and when somebody's got one that they want to do, let's do it.
I've got one.
All right, let's see it.
Symbol of hope. We're going to call symbol of hope the applause.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
Which thing is it tied to?
Let's do We Are Company.
Okay, cool.
There's a symbol of hope that the company might become family again. And I'm going to, so this is, now I have to create the scene. Okay, I'm going to, this one's going to be just Usher and I. And so I'm going to ask Usher to meet me in the, what's it called above the stage? The rafters, or where like the curtains all hooked up and the rigging and whatnot? So I'm going to ask you to meet me up in the rigging.
Yeah, that sounds dangerous. I'll meet you there.
Okay. So,
So I'll come clanking along like, you know, just
what's your demeanor when you're meeting me?
hesitant.
Okay. All right. That's good. So I'm going to hold out my hand to shake your hand.
Okay.
What do you do?
Just slowly bring my hand out while like just keeping an eye. Like I'm just super hesitant about this whole thing. I don't even like heights to begin with.
Once you tentatively pull my hand, I pull you in to me and I give you a hug.
Oh damn.
We need to talk.
Okay.
Our matriarch has been arrested. Something is wrong. I don't have a lot of people to turn to at this point, and it's time for a change. Just like the director said, at this point, our options are limited, and we're going to have to trust each other. Despite my personal wants and desires, I feel like we have to focus on the play and not necessarily the show, at least for a while, until we feel safe again and the show and the cast is strong again. I know you know how much I love the show, and the play itself has never really been the imperative for me, but I might be wrong. And at least for now, I feel like maybe your wants and desires for the cast need to be our focus. So if you want to take us there and the director trusts you, then I trust you. And maybe we just take a break from everything else and just focus on our performance and focus on the play and focus on focus on what's the term you did? I didn't do it. Anyway,
you talking about the applause?
yeah, I said now let's just focus on the audience's applause and nothing else until we feel that's it. Just focus on the applause for a while.
So I couldn't agree with you more. I am so super passionate about the director. He is my inspiration as well, sorry, and she's put so much faith in me, and you've put a ton of faith in me. And the last show that we did, I kind of fumbled, and I take full responsibility for that. But I need you. I'm gonna need your help.
Let's be clear. I don't blame you for the show going badly. With everything going on right now, everyone's heads are in 20 different, everyone's minds and focus are in 20 different places. There's no way to execute a proper show right now. Not with our matriarch getting locked up and people getting pulled off of the streets. No one's in the right headspace now. I don't put that on you. And that's why I think it's time to bring all of our cast in and rebuild and rebuild the stage. We need to rebuild the stage and focus on the applause, and then get back to what we can do and be safe and protect each other, because our family is what matters, and we're not a family right now.
Right.
That's where we need to get back to. That's the imperative.
Okay. I say we get tech. We get our heads together.
We need to get back our people.
Yeah. Let's get our director.
Yeah. We have to get
no more monologuing.
Back. And then we get out of here. We don't worry about the daughter. We don't worry about the job. We focus on the show.
Let's do it.
That sounds like scene.
Wonderful.
I have an idea for what's next.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay. So, do you mind if I delete this symbol of hope? There we go. A unity saying. When things look their darkest, this is what we say to remember who we are. It's the show must go on. And a time for courage may have outsiders. So I think we got the heart, but you got arrested.
Ooh.
Right?
Oh, okay.
And I think Tech did some magic or whatever, right? Like he did a vanishing act, but you took the fall. And so when I think this scene is the breakout.
Yeah.
And it's the full cast. It takes the full cast. Like we use everything we know to make this breakout happen. And I want it to pick up with Tech getting to the cell. So we see the director in their cell, and then there's some commotion, right? Like off camera in the front of the police station or wherever you're being held. And you can probably hear like people arguing or something like that, and then a lady slips past like one of the officers who's running to go see what the commotion is, and you get that like the little spin to like, oh my, and the spin turn where they grab the keys, and Tech comes walking up in a dress like with the full like big old wig and everything, and leans against the bars and is like, so busy.
And I kind of just like look at you, and then I'm like, you really should have gone to wardrobe. Like that costume could be a little bit better as I like, almost like in a mirror of like that other scene from that other noblewoman of like adjusting like your dress slightly.
Your boobs are like all whack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go to adjust it and say, oh, well, of course you don't see the thing that ties it all together. And he pulls off this scarf and he's wearing the daughter's heart.
And I'm like, you brought that here?
I made a choice.
Guts.
If we're gonna get these people to quit following us, we're gonna have to make a trade. And the show's not gonna go on without its director.
And I just like nod. I'm like, the show must go on.
And he takes off the daughter's heart and like hands it to you to leave somewhere in the cell, and like goes to unlock the cell.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I follow you out of the cell, and like I think maybe we walk out as we see like the daughter's heart is just like, how they like, you have the fake bodies like with pillows and stuff underneath the blankets. I think it's that, but like you see around the pillow that's supposed to be the head is just the necklace just sitting there.
Right.
Can I include myself in the scene as you guys walk out?
Yeah.
Okay, so as you guys walk out, I'm pretending to be this watcher of the jewel, and I'm yelling, and I've created the distraction at the front of the police place, and I'm like, listen, I know the jewel's here. Somebody was in here with the jewel. I need you to look. Every single one of your officers needs to be out looking for the jewel, and it needs to be back in my hands immediately. If it doesn't happen, the so-and-so, I know, this person, that person, is going to be down your throats. I'll write them a letter, and you guys will be all out of jobs. And so as you guys walk out, you guys are walking out, and we all give each other a wink, like, and I'm just continuing to yell at him.
Perfect. I love it.
All right. So, we didn't say what thing that goes next to. I think it's next to We Are a Company.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was The Show Must Go On, a Unity saying.
Cool.
Does anyone else keep hearing, whenever you say we are a company, keep hearing, we are a company? No? Just me? Okay.
That's just you.
Anyways.
All right, cool. So that's there. I don't know which one that I want to use.
I have one.
Do it.
Okay. So this one's very fitting, I think. This is it's not label, right? It's label. Is it label?
Label.
Okay. So I think the way this will play into is because so I'll just read it out. Using this word has become a badge we wear, is a point of pride, or something we are trying to, or is it something we're trying to hide? So make a connection, play on a previously defined word, explain why using it now labels us, skip the build a word phase in the conversation, explore the label. Moment of truth. So with so much of the like strife and atrocity that's stricken us as a company, and now we're kind of like resurging, rebuilding that sense of what we once knew, that is now only called the company. I feel like this is a reformation of a rekinship to family. You know what I mean? Like
So is this changing cast back to? Is this making cast something? Is this changing the
more
word cast?
meaningful. Uh, yeah. Can we do that?
Yeah, that this
Yeah.
one specifically changes the meaning of or the use of a word.
Right. Well, I
I
just
think.
mean because it was kind of left behind. I didn't know if we could still do that.
I don't know. You can totally pick that one. So, like, if you're like, it sounds to me like we're changing the word cast is both changing it to no longer mean associate and as to be more like that family. So even
Yes.
even tighter than what it originally was as
Yes.
friend. It is now even tighter to be more like family.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. So we'll just take. Take cast, and we're gonna move it to probably We Are Company, and we're gonna change it from associate to family.
Okay. I don't know how you want to, or I don't know how I want to. So, where we left off was, well, to Act 3, Part 1 was Wardrobe and I speaking, and then him basically saying, look, kid, you got all the, the tools. It wasn't your fault. I think you can do it, right? But we need to make this happen. And then Scene 3, Part 2 was Tech. With we got the jewel. We broke out our
Director.
our I don't know, our I can't think of words right now.
Matrix?
But anyways, yeah, there you go. So I just have to ask: is that something that maybe Usher leaned on or kind of threw together, and like everybody played their part and it went well, and it was Usher's idea, and we all gained some faith with the getting the jewel, and then it was your idea to use the jewel to get, like, we all just really melded.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like this was this breakout was your plan, and so like we're all kind of okay with following your lead now.
Or at least at the very least trusting me, right?
Yeah, like we're more cohesive now.
Yeah. And everything just flows. Okay. So now where am I? So everything
this
means
scene says a moment of
cast
truth.
means family. Okay. Moment of truth, right?
I have an idea of how we could set that scene if you want.
Yeah, because I wanted to make sure that I understood if everybody's okay with those.
What if this scene, like, that was like the show closed, we did the breakout, and now it's time to move on to the next town, and everyone has the option to walk away if they want, or get in the truck and we're going to the next town. Like you're either coming with us or you're getting out, but this is the moment, right? This is the moment to decide.
Yeah. I like that. It's super it's really heavy, but yeah, I like that.
So I think you're in charge here.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to, cuz I guess it's just more of a. All right, so everybody's there. Our fearless leader has been broken out, and everybody's kind of like, we're all kind of just like celebrating, and at the same time I'm like celebrating me for having like you guys support me, and I'm really like kind of selfishly taking it in, like I knew it all along,
I think Tech looks over at director and he's like, I got this. And he walks over to Usher and he's like, kid, you got to give a speech now.
I'm not so great with speeches.
Just get up there and say what you think.
Okay, I can do that.
I help lift him out of the chair and push him forward. Go on.
All
Get
right.
up there.
It's been a really crazy, short, that seemed like forever expedition. We've seen serious. We thought we saw what would be our final blow, or the end of the show, and some people. The biggest players of the cast really put their faith in me, and shown me that I can trust myself and that I can do a lot more than just improv. And we've come a long way, and we have our family back. And at the end of the day, I think it would be wonderful to just have or to experience the applause again, like we used to so familiarly before.
I'm going to lift my ale in the air and say, I think everyone can agree. That was awful. This is why you will never be a lead in the play. But welcome to being lead of the show.
Excellent. And I think what we see after that is maybe it's a little bit time later, and we see director coming up to wardrobe. And I think because we like shared this connection, it's like we're pulling off typing away. I'm like, you're gonna look after our Usher and make sure that things stay together, because as long as I've been here, I mean, I've been the director, but I don't think I can follow you and be a member of this cast anymore. It's not my thing. But I trust you can take care and make sure that Usher, he's got a good head on his shoulders, but he'll need some help, and I hope you can do that.
It's time for me to take a step back and let this new era of the cast take hold, and I will have to adapt and learn that our ways have died and new ways have taken hold, and maybe this is a good thing, and I have to trust that and see how this plays out. But I support them.
And I nod. I'm like, you'll be a good cast.
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah. Feels like the scene to me. Anybody else want to? All right.
All right, so I think I'm the last person to go.
Yep.
So I have what we bring in, action. They start as whispers, but they grow. Voices that aren't our own gain prominence in the community. Make a connection, pick a previously defined word, and explain why a foreign word for this concept has infiltrated our language.
Oh, wow.
I think I'm picking the word protag, and I think this isn't going to be a scene with me. Um, I think what it comes down to is you guys hear rumors that the daughter's heart has gone missing again. And I am no longer there. And so I think that the word is no longer protag to mean traitor, but like this is probably has to either like maybe it's like the daughter's heart or it could be like the daughter's move or something along those lines. I'm open to suggestions for something like that.
So what I immediately feel from that is so like the one thing that tore apart our family was
Mhm.
protag, right?
Yeah.
So
The one
maybe
thing that
it's not
brought
the.
Oh,
Does it
hang on.
make-
The
Go for it.
one thing that brought our family together essentially was the jewel.
Mm-hmm.
So now protag can literally be the definition of the thing that brought our family back together, right? It's all inclusive, I feel like.
Yeah, so the thing I'm trying to do is change a word to something that is not part of our vernacular of like around stage and actor things. So something like the jewel or the daughter's heart or something that is clearly not encore dress stage, like something like that that means like the traitor or the person who left or something like that.
Oh, okay. I totally misread where you were going with that.
Maybe since it has the disconnect and it's the negative connotation, maybe it's not the heart anymore. Maybe it's the daughter's tear.
Oh, I like that.
That'd be good. I could see like the thief, like just going with
Sure.
the thief, right? Like because it's not something that we were using before.
And it's
Like,
not a thing we're doing
pushed,
anymore.
Yeah, we've pushed thieves out of the cast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like that's an old show. That's an old act that we don't play.
Or like
anymore.
a heart chaser or heartbroken.
Oh, yeah.
Broken Heart.
Broken heart.
So
Heartthrob. I like broken heart.
Yeah, I like broken heart.
Okay, cool. I'm saying changing that. So to me, this is it comes into the long form improv. Like it's related in the sense that like you are no longer doing that type thing. Like it's tied in there.
Yep.
So I think this is probably a scene between the three of you. And because I'm not around anymore, I've
Retired.
left and retired. But like you hear a rumor that the daughter's heart has gone missing, and that there's like a wanted like they're out looking for me because I was the last known person to have it, even though it got returned.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like mirroring that opening scene we started at a bar. This is a different bar. You guys are at a booth drinking and talking about it, and like maybe we come mid conversation as like you're talking about like maybe me not being there and like that the thing is missing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Tech walks up to the table. Instead of holding drinks this time, he's got a newspaper. And he slaps it on the table, and it just says, "The daughter's broken heart," like as the big headline. And he's like, "Can you believe this?"
I
Yeah,
mean,
can I?
yeah.
I can't imagine where it went.
And she didn't even come and get me.
Did you honestly think she would? It's kind of poetic, though, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It is very poetic.
And let's be honest, it belongs with her.
Yeah, she deserves it. I mean, I got to wear it for a little bit, though.
I don't think she'll hold on to it for long. I hope she finds a way to make a lot, retire in comfort and lavishments, and who knows? Maybe we'll circle back to whatever town she ends up with, and I don't know. Maybe just for fun, we'll have a show and visit.
You know what? I am certain that we'll get a postcard at some point in time from some random beautiful city You know, someplace we've always wanted to go, and we could just put on one last show.
I mean,
Maybe our next stage act could be I don't know, something about a group of people stealing a valuable jewel, and it could kind of be what's the term for it, where life imitates art. Maybe we've put enough distance between. Maybe we've put enough distance behind our old lives and our new lives to where maybe it's time that we kind of see our story on the stage just for fun.
we're gonna write a play about the broken heart.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing.
Cool. That feels like good scene.
Cool.
So we are now entering the aftermath and the legacy. So the last moments. So I'll read this prompt, although it doesn't quite fit with where our story is going. We'll talk about what it means. So locked up, dead, or scattered. Our days in this town are over. Is there any trace of us left? And so I think this is more not like locked up or dead, but like no longer thieves. Like you're a legitimate acting group doing those things and not doing the thieving anymore. I am definitely not part of it, but like I think every now and then, like when you guys put on plays as you travel around, you just get like a bunch of roses to like the cast, and you're like that like that's the type of thing that you see. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna deal one legacy card to all players. Each of the legacy cards. Hold on.
I also feel like there's the cast is like started to regrow again, and there are rumors of people potentially seeing what looks like your outline or whatever. Even if it's not true, people claim to have seen someone that looks like you, but they never get to see you. It's just in the shadow or whatever.
Yeah. So you guys could all be together, or maybe this can happen afterwards. Like it doesn't have to be immediately right now, but everybody should have a legacy card on there. It has some instructions, but I'll read those instructions out for the air. So choose one option for your final narrated epilogue. It may be about your character or the isolation as a whole and your story. And so then it gives you 3 different options to choose from. These are kind of inspiration that kind of about it. If none of those work for you at all, just let me know and I'll deal you another card. We've got some extra ones. But like take a second, look at that card. But like we can also talk about like where we think things went so that we can kind of make sure we have something to both close the group as a whole as well as our individual characters. But I just want to make sure that we have like the setting that like in general you guys are an acting guild group that are active and I am out away from that.
I have something that will work, but I'll have to do a little kind of potential play on some of the words where it's not so okay.
That's fine. Yeah, totally okay.
You want me to go?
Sure. Yeah, if you're ready, go for it.
Okay. I think what's going to happen here is, so choose one option for your final narrated epilogue. It may be about your character or the isolation as a whole and your story. The 3 options are contempt for the outsider's ways, a ritual for the dead, and as the walls come crumbling down. For me, I instantly saw that as we have a play about our story, right? This is, and the walls crumbling down are not so much like literal walls. It's as the curtain closes. As the scene fades and closes, right? It's the bow, it's the applause, it's just the elation. We made it, we did it, and yeah, for my character, that's definitely, just the hat with the full bow and the curtain closing.
I like it.
Do we still have to do with the legacy card? We don't have to do like a...
No,
No,
that's
that was it.
Okay.
Either of you guys have something from your legacy card yet?
I can go.
Go for it.
So, mine. Oh, let me drag it out so people can see it. So I'm going to go with tensions between you and the outsiders. So I think that our play and its entanglement with the daughter's heart and like the past of thieving and all that stuff has given actors like all actors a bad name in this area. And so like we're getting the treatment like we were the thieves, but just for being actors. And so there's this like you can see us sitting at a bar and like people not wanting to come over and talk to us because stay away from them, they're bad news, those dangerous actors. And you can see like the longing, like he's looking at a newspaper, right? Like the daughter's heart spotted, right? And he's like longing for the old days of like, if I'm gonna get the bad publicity, why can't I go out and do the thing I want to do? So yeah, he's not too happy. He probably retires from the troupe after that.
I've got one that I can do. So, out of the ash, a seedling sprouts. So I think this is sometime later. You guys are making an open call for something like that, and you get somebody who comes in, and it's like a young girl who you don't recognize, and like they're totally when they come up for the audition, you're auditioning for, I don't know, like another lead actor or something, but like she totally is not there for anything, and she's like, I can't act, I can't do all of that, but I can make props. And she's like, I've got something, like you guys were recommended to me as people who would be good to know and that you would take care of me. And she's like, this is the prop that would let you know where I came from. And like she pulls, like opens up, and like you can see like it's a replica of the daughter's heart that she's wearing. And she's like, I can make really good props.
I think Tech leans over to Usher and is like, yeah, we can find a place.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
That's
All right,
awesome.
Endeline, you got one?
They do. I have to an assumption the outsiders make about you. The feeling of relief in your new life and the shame that comes with loss. For me, it is definitely a feeling of relief in my new life. Unexpectedly, I have taken a liking to this new life, and the stress that came from doing the shows. And I kind of like that. I could be relaxed and feel safe and not worried all the time about getting caught and anything like that. And turns out that Usher is actually doing a great job, and everyone is back to happy, and all of the protag stuff just kind of faded away into the background, and our focus is on the play. And I feel like maybe we're not quite family yet, but I think we all feel a sense that we're getting there again, and pretty happy. I don't miss it. I thought I would, but oddly enough, I don't.
Cool. Awesome. And that was Dialect. That was a lot of fun. Thank you guys all for
It's
doing
incredible.
Woo!
Yeah, it's
I love
amazing.
Dialect so much.
Does anyone else feel like they would love to just see what we just created in a film?
I
Like,
think
I wanna
that's the whole cool thing of it is that you did create a short story.
Yeah, I want to see it played out. I want to see Matt Damon. I want to see.
Oh my god.
Oceans, what is it? Like Oceans 7 or 4 or whatever it is.
Ocean's 8 with Speedway Girl, or not Speedway. What's it called?
Speed?
Speed, just Speed. I'm so good with words.
You are such a goofball.
Oh my gosh.
I can't think of any words.
I knew this would be the best game for you. That's why I pleaded with Kurt to make sure you won this game.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. If you watched live or if you've watched us in later editions of this on YouTube or followed us on Patreon or anything like that. This is Pixel Scandal. We put on a variety podcast and do some streams and stuff like that. You can find out more by going to pixelscandal.com. Yoshi, do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Yoshi. You can follow me on Twitter at Yoshi Creelman. And I run a lot of games for the Gauntlet. You can find their stuff at thegauntlet-rpg.com. I'm really into the forums right now, so go check out forums.thegauntlet-rpg.com. And I'm sure Kurt will throw some links somewhere about that.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah.
And,
Or we will.
Yeah. Do that, and come join us on the forums and talk about games, and come play games with us.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed Dialect, check them out at thornygames.com. And there's actually currently a limited run of the game that includes a collector's cloth bag that you can get for $50. So if this sounded cool to you and we had a blast, go check out thornygames.com.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, thank you again for joining us. This has been Pixel Scandal. You've watched us play Dialect, and thank you so much, Yoshi, for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was a blast.
All right.
Yeah,
Bye.
that was a ton of fun.
Love you.